watching from the Iowa side. You get a few more clouds and maybe a couple little more sprinkles into the afternoon. Nothing all that detrimental, but you probably get the worst of the weather today. Fire weather, it's increased because of the dry air, the wind, the dry vegetation. And those are red flag warnings from the western counties in our viewing area, looking into central Nebraska up into South Dakota too. I just think it's a bad idea to have any open burning at all today. The drought monitor, you can see the latest here. This will update this morning a little later on, but you can see what we have here, moderate to abnormally dry in the area. And this is probably going to get worse before it gets better. And now the wind today, a factor. We got to watch out with all the dry vegetation. You got gusts up near 40 miles per hour as early as 9 o'clock right into the afternoon. And they won't really back off until we get after 7 o'clock when we get closer to sunset. So that is a big story for today. And watch the clouds try to drop in from the north, 9, 10, 11 o'clock. And there's a couple little sprinkles. Notice there's not much to it. That's models telling us that kind of a repeat of what we have out there this morning. Could it pop up around lunch and into the afternoon? Just a few little areas traipsing through. And notice how it keeps us a little cooler on the Iowa side. You get mid 60s from the river to the west. A high today of about 67 degrees. It'll be windy. Not quite as enjoyable as yesterday was, but temperature-wise, pretty good, above average. By 5 o'clock, still windy. 7 o'clock, still windy. And then into the evening and overnight, they'll drop off through the 50s into the 40s. And by tomorrow morning, likely to be a cold one, down into the 30s to start off. So could have a little bit of patchy frost in the area. Not a hard freeze by any means, but that is why you don't want to get into the garden or get any flowers planted too early. We still got days like that ahead. Pickup forecast for the kids today. Yeah, 66 to 67 as you're going to get them. But windy, very, very windy. 66 on Friday, kind of sneaky best day there for a little while, just because there's not going to be any wind.
Yeah.
60s and lack of wind should be pretty good tomorrow.
You don't get to say that a lot about the weekend, though, right?
And the next 4 days,
okay,
kind of after that, have some wind to contend with. So 76 on Saturday. By the numbers, you're going to see that in our forecast and think, hey, that's the day. But south winds will gust to near 40 miles per hour. A south wind this time of year can bring in wildfire smoke from the Flint Hills of Kansas. We'll watch for that on Saturday. Very dry conditions too. Look at, we're at a deficit for the year for spring and for April now. And there's very little rain to find in the forecast, but a lot of windy days. South breeze on Sunday, northwest wind on Monday, northwest breeze on Tuesday. And then hopefully quiets down by the end of next week, but very, very small chances for precipitation. We'll watch Sunday night. Maybe that can turn into something. But again, those would be spotty showers and very, very hit and miss thunder showers, I think, the way it looks right now.
Okay. Maybe he'll have some better information about traffic this morning.
Yeah, well, the best way to put it is the same problem as yesterday.
Okay. Nothing new.
We know about it, but we're not surprised by any other crashes around the area. Let's look at what it looks like. Look at the backups. This is that same spot. We're looking at areas from about L Street and 680 all the way down towards Q, as everybody's got to shift over to the right lane because there's lane closures. They're trying to widen the interstate a little bit. So this has been a problem every day this week. And the backups, again, like clockwork, extending back to 680. And there were issues yesterday with some lane closures eastbound I-80. Those haven't turned into quite the issue, but yesterday traffic did back up onto 144th Street in both directions as everybody was trying to get onto I-80 to go eastbound from 144th as well. So 144 to about 680, that stretch of I-80, just slow to get through it. There's just not a great way to get you around that, unfortunately. You could go through Millard, but again, you got to go slower. There's construction there too. Otherwise, it's a lot of green on the map and no big headaches beyond that. So we'll keep an eye out, see if any new crashes come in. But overall, right now, it's that same stretch of road here. And tune in May, I'll probably be saying the same thing, or Jarrett will. I think it's something that lasts for months, not days.
All right, Rusty.
It's tough, all right.
Thank you. This morning, police are searching for tips after a robbery in Benson. OPD says officers responded to the Ted and Wally's and a Taste of New Orleans near 60th and Maple yesterday evening. They say someone entered the business, showed a handgun, and took money. This investigation into this robbery is ongoing. Anybody with any information on it is urged to contact Omaha Crime Stoppers.
Well, also new this morning, a 19-year-old is in the hospital after a crash. It happened in the area of Abbott Drive and Fort Street shortly before 6 last night. Now, according to OPD, a 19-year-old motorcyclist was driving negligently on Fort when they crashed into the driver's side of a car that was waiting to turn. The teen's injuries are fortunately not life-threatening.
All right, now to Maria Kate at the safety desk. Maria, you have some information on a new study over heavy drinking.
Yeah, the study is finding that heavy drinking could be linked to a higher risk of memory and thinking issues. And experts say heavy drinking is 8 or more alcoholic drinks every week. Now, in the research, scientists analyzed 1,700 people after they died. They look at their brain tissue to look for signs of an injury. They also asked family members about the participants' alcohol consumption. The heavy drinkers were 133% more likely to develop a brain lesion compared with people who didn't drink. Now, they said people who used to be heavy drinkers, they have an 89% risk of getting those lesions.
Yikes. Okay. In the meantime, switching gears, of course, adult life, it's always stressful sometimes. You have some good ways, though, to cope.
Yeah, you know, April is actually Stress Awareness Month, and experts say that many people don't have all the tools that they need to find relief, or maybe if they do know them, they don't use them as often. So some good reminders today. One expert says sometimes people unfortunately go down some of those unhealthy avenues when they're trying to cope, and that could mean drinking alcohol or using other substances heavily. Now, instead, if you are stressed, experts say to focus on a healthy daily routine that includes healthy eating, exercising, and getting good quality sleep. Focusing on self-care can also help your body recharge.
We always want to take a step back and get a sense of where is my stress level right now, and what can I do to prioritize self-care.
Now, you can also participate in social activities, maintain communication with your support system. And another good thing, too, to keep in mind, tap into your hobbies. If you have any creative outlets that you like to do and enjoy, that can help give you a little bit of a mental health break and a reset, too.
Watching a good show on like a Friday after work, just like...
For me, it's music. I can listen to music, turn it off for a little bit, and then come back 100%.
All right. Good deal. Maria, thank you. All right, we're back after this.
Welcome back, everybody. Now, yesterday, Rusty told us it was going to be windy, and we had some wind, but today we're going to take it up a notch.
Yeah, it took a little while. Didn't last quite as long as I expected, but we got some gusts into the afternoon, and now it looks like they're going to pick up even more today out of the northwest. You look east, and you got a couple little showers that are showing up. The sun kind of backlighting those, and you can see the thin, wispy clouds there. It looks kind of cool. We're at 46 degrees with the northwest wind, about 9 miles per hour right now, but dry air in place. That's why these showers are struggling a little bit. But you can see some of these south of Oakland towards Red Oak right now. Those are dropping southeast and out of here, so you can see what it looks like. Let's put the motion on those, and they're dropping southeast and not really going to amount to much. So just a couple sprinkles on the car windshields more than anything. Now let's talk about what's coming in behind these, because that little batch moving there, there's a few more off to our north that could zip by. We'll go to 67 for the high today. Looks pretty good by the numbers, but the wind. Here's how it looks heading into the mid-morning hours. How about 9:30? Gusts 30 to 35 miles per hour. By noon, we're talking gusts up near 40 miles per hour possible. On average, about 35, but wouldn't be surprised if some 40s are showing up by then. By 3 o'clock, you got some gusts near 35, and then those should relax as the sun sets tonight. A quieter night heading towards tomorrow morning, and you will notice into the afternoon, much lighter wind tomorrow. That's why I'm big on tomorrow's forecast, because it'll have similar temperatures, but it will be less windy. Car wash forecast, it's a go for it. It's going to be dry. It's going to be able to keep things a little cleaner anyway as we make our way into this upcoming weekend. Now, the wind does come back on Saturday. Show you that here. Notice by 11, 12 o'clock, we're getting gusts up out of the south, already 25 to 30. And there you go, out of the south up near 35. Wouldn't be surprised to see some 40 mile per hour wind gusts. And by 5 o'clock still, and those could persist deep into the evening hours too. I don't think they're going to relax quite as easy as the ones tonight will. 76 for the high looks better, but remember, we're going to have the wind to go along with it as well. And still windy conditions Sunday, probably into Monday too. By Monday, it'll be a northwest wind. So hey, we'll mix it up a little bit. We'll change the direction
Great.
Once again.
So far in April, we've been pretty dry overall. Any promising chances for some rain?
Unfortunately, no. It's a weird dry start, and I bumped the odds up a little bit Sunday night. Nothing really during the day. There's 5 o'clock. And you'll notice towards 8 and 9, there could be a couple little showers streaming in from the west here, but even those don't look all that promising. So some overnight showers, maybe a rumble of thunder heading into Monday morning, likely not to be a big issue. And then some of those could linger, like I mentioned, into Monday morning with a high of 64 by the afternoon. Tuesday up to 62, and there's small chance towards the end of next week. Even that doesn't look all that promising either, heading towards Easter weekend. So we'll watch for that, see if the pattern changes up a little bit, but kind of what you see is what you get. Just kind of slightly warmer than average and not much change in the precipitation outlook. So we'll be wanting some rain, I think, by the middle of next week.
Okay. All right, Rusty, thanks. Happening today, the man arrested in Sarpy County after allegedly kidnapping a teen in Wisconsin has extradition hearings. Last week, Gary Day pled not guilty to 2 misdemeanors in Nebraska. He's set to face more serious charges in Wisconsin, including child enticement and abduction. We'll be sure to monitor the hearings and pass along any new information from them.
Happening today, a Metro woman will be sentenced for violating her probation. Lorena Laura Diaz was sentenced to 3 years in prison over the death of Gary Mangiamelli after she was released from prison. Authorities say Laura Diaz cut off all contact with her probation officer, then fled to Missouri. She was eventually found in Kansas City.
A sudden change on tariff strategy causing a dramatic shift in stocks. President Trump pausing tariffs on dozens of countries for 90 days, but not all tariffs have been lifted.
Yeah, while the market saw a partial bounce back, local business owners are still concerned about higher prices. We spoke with local businesses about these changes as well as the potential impact. At the Bookworm, owner Philip Black highlights the hike of prices affecting materials that go into books themselves.
The impact on us would be primarily the cost of any paper, ink, etc., in making that was imported into the U.S. that went into the books. We don't panic, just keep doing what we're doing. We'll do what we can to control our cost. It
is estimated book production costs could go up 5 to 10%. Well, the next phase of a Northwest Omaha road project is now underway.
Road closures are in place near 168th and Ida. They'll be there through the fall. Crews will begin installing a culvert. This is part of a larger plan to develop this intersection. The plan is to eventually add some stoplights. Now, a resident nearby says while his commute is not impacted, he is happy to see more lights go up.
We have students that do cross 168th, so crossing that street is going to be a little bit easier to maneuver for our families.
Detours are set around the construction zones at 156th and Fort, as well as 180th and State. Commuters are asked to avoid driving through the surrounding communities to navigate those closures.
Well, still ahead, find out who is competing in this year's Cannes Film Festival.
Plus, a historic creation from the world of Barbie when First Floor 6 comes back.
Well, new this morning, the lineup for the 78th Cannes Film Festival is now out.
So included is the latest films from directors Wes Anderson, Ari Aster, and Richard Linklater. Aster's Eddington is a pandemic-set western starring Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal, and Emma Stone. Anderson's The Phoenician Scheme stars Benicio del Toro as a European profiteer, and Linklater's Nouvelle Vague, I hope I got that, is about the French New Wave movement. The festival runs from May 13th through the 24th, and last year's festival featured recent Best Picture nominees Emilia Perez, The Substance, and eventual winner, Anora.
Yeah,
So these could be the ones.
The Cannes Film Festival is always like the first big one of the year, and there are always, you know, those big players that end up getting nominated for a lot. I think in the past decade, the majority of those films have won the Palme d'Or, which is the top prize, end up getting nominated for Best Picture. So if you win, it's a pretty good sign for your future.
It's a big deal to be there. Have you heard anything about any of those? Anybody heard anything about any of those films?
The Wes Anderson always looks fabulous. I mean, he's such an iconic and artistic director.
Well, and that movie takes place during the pandemic. COVID pandemic. So it'll be interesting to see, because I think this is probably one of the first movies that tackles that subject. So to see how they're going to do that and what they're going to make of it, I'll be really interested to see
that. Could go a lot of ways, couldn't it?
Plus, they all get to go to Cannes and be in the beautiful weather and enjoy the Mediterranean.
True. We should go there.
I like that. Live, I'll do it.
All right, in the meantime, LeBron James is getting into the world of Barbie.
Yeah, check this out. Mattel announced that the Lakers star is getting his own Ken doll. So I really love this. So he is the first professional athlete to have a Ken doll release in his likeness. The James doll will capture LeBron's fashion, as you can see, his fashion sense on and off the court. The doll will also be an inch taller than the standard Ken doll to capture his height. It hits shelves next Monday. I think that's a nice touch to have him stand a little bit taller.
That'll be a
big
collector's
guy.
item for sure, too.
Yeah, they did a really good job with that.
So our one of our editors, Deshaun, I think is a pretty big Lakers fan, and I told him I'd buy him one.
Okay.
So I guess I maybe have to hold up to it if it's in within my price range.
Yeah.
So I wonder. His wife said he can't have one.
Yes.
So
I was going to say it might.
I don't want to go against the wife's wishes, but
You might get in trouble and get him in trouble. Look,
we'll see.
Michael Jordan doesn't have a Ken doll.
That's true.
I know he should.
I know
He should.
He should.
Yeah.
I think he'll be all right.
Let's go.
I think I was
Somehow he'll
surprised
survive.
too that he wasn't wearing, I guess, basketball uniform. So
Yeah.
maybe like in the future they might come out with different outfits for the doll to wear.
Yeah,
Or
they're
more
always
money,
thinking
but-
that. Yeah, it looks good. It looks good. We'll see who's next. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on First Alert 6. We're going to get ready for our update in the Today Show. Of course, you can watch it here on streaming or over the air.
All right. Have a great start to your Thursday.
Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts now.
Good Thursday morning, everybody. It is 7:26. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Erin Hartley. Let's get an update on weather and traffic this morning with Rusty Lord.
Yeah, first check of traffic here. We'll see. It's the main slowdowns. It's the areas on I-80 between about L and 144th. You'll notice the westbound lane's really slow as it's restricted by a lane. You got to get right. And there you go, from L Street all the way down to that. There's the big time slowdowns. I think maybe more people are avoiding that as the morning goes along. And now we're getting on the eastbound lanes. I-80 eastbound has lane restrictions too, and it's backing up onto 144th. So there you go. Same spots, different day, all causing the same problems. Otherwise, you got your normal hot spots on Dodge, 204th, northbound on the JFK, getting to the interchange as well. All those, the usual slowdowns. Let's take a look at what's out there right now. We had a couple of showers that have popped up on the Iowa side. They're drifting to the east and southeast, and you may look east and see some of these. They're not going to pose much of a threat and shouldn't really be too much to worry about. There's the sun now breaking through as those showers drop southeast and out. So we will get a good amount of sunshine today. 46 is where we're at now, and We will climb from there. Wind gusts will be noteworthy, much stronger than yesterday, likely gusting up near 40 miles per hour and be much more persistent into the late afternoon, early evening hours. First Alert forecast shows how there could be a couple more afternoon showers on the Iowa side too, where the clouds are a little thicker, so keep that in mind. A couple spotty showers with 66 by 3 o'clock up to 67 by 5 today. So not bad by the temperature, by the number there, but the wind is going to make it feel colder and just a little bit annoying outside. Aaron?
Well, into this morning, police are searching for tips after a robbery in Benson. OPD says officers responded to the Ted and Wally's and a Taste of New Orleans near 60th and Maple yesterday night. They say somebody entered the business, showed a gun, and then took money. The investigation into this robbery is ongoing. Anybody with any information is urged to contact Omaha Crime Stoppers.
It is 7:28. We're back with another update for you in 25 minutes. We'll see you then. Have a great day, everybody.